Biker TV is brought to you in part by the Canadian Biker Build-Off, July 29th to 31st. The Busted Knuckle Chronicles, Western Canada's weekly biker news. Blue Collar Choppers, parts for the hardcore builder or weekend customizer. Closed captioning by Task Productions. So, you want to go fast? Welcome to Biker TV. Bikes, babes, parties, rock and roll. Gotta love it. I'm Heather Ireland.
And I'm Biba.
Today's show is going to rock your world. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Biba?
We've got Donny Peterson on board with Techline.
And we party it up at the big boy of them all, the Ride for Sight.
Heather's going to take us for a ride through her stomping grounds of London, Ontario.
But first, we check in on Dino and the guys to see who's going to own that track.
Everybody's got their favorite sandbox. Well, this is my favorite sandbox, the drag strip. This is where dreams are shattered and champions are crowned. The boys at Grand Bend Motorplex have opened the doors for us, and we're going to do some racing. We're going to give everybody 3 time trials by themselves. Then we're going to do 4 time trials side by side. Once we've had them have a dozen time trials, we're going to pull straws and line them up 2 by 2 till there's only one guy left. Players are ready. Track is ready. Let's go racing.
Last night, I hurt my hand. I won't be able to race.
See, my excuse is a little different. I'm too fat, and I thought that was your excuse, too, that we slow the bikes down. Partly. Come on in here. I'm going to bring my racer in, and you can bring your racer in. Come on in here.
This is my friend Lindsay from Whole Shot. He'll be taking my spot. He's not much later than me.
There's a half a second quicker right there.
Half a second, you got it.
I brought my ringer in. This is my sister, Pam. She knows how to ride. Just to freak you guys out a little bit. I'm going to put a girl out there. So you think you got what it takes, or what?
I think so.
Does anybody want to give me their check now?
My ringer is my sister. She's been riding bikes as long as I have. She raced that bike last year, but I've juiced her up a little more this year. Hopefully have her on a top fueler one day.
It's a lot different than last year. He's geared it a bit differently, so it really launches off the line. Hard to hang on to when you're so light. I think I managed to catch Bispo on that last one there.
You can see, like that first squirrely one, I went over almost into the tree.
Yeah.
Where it broke loose big time, eh? We did a 12.4 with it, but it should be able to do 12 O's, 12 1s. It's got the capabilities. It's just we're running into a little bit of problems. He's never had it down the track before, so that's the thing.
Race my own bike, race it all the time. I'm gonna win, no doubt about it. The old guys all chickened out, so they got all their ringers to come in and win, or try to win.
I have no problem with the 2 older guys bringing in the dead ringers. I've raced with Pam before. She's a very good opponent. I know she's beaten me on several occasions, so this should be an interesting afternoon to say the least.
Time trials are done. A couple little minor adjustments here and there to get everybody down the track. Now people are realizing what it really takes to go racing. We're going to do our straw draws, and we're going to get these eliminations underway, and we're going to see who's going to win and who's going to lose.
Donny Peterson always gives good advice. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Hi, I'm Donny Peterson, and this is Bikertv Techline. I've owned heavy-duty cycles here in Toronto for 30 years, and I've been the Techline editor for American Iron Magazine since 1989. In the old days with oil coolers, we'd just go down to an auto wrecker, we'd yank out a transmission cooler out of any old wreck, pay $5 for it, bring it back, and put it on our motorcycles, and voila, we had a functioning oil cooler. But now there's many oil coolers on the market. Tony, would you bring me over the cooler you're installing on that bike, please?
Sure, Don. As long as I can get it back so this guy can get out of here sometime today.
Okay. Now, oil coolers are made out of billet, they're made out of chrome, and they're made out of black materials. Billet is a current fad with Harley riders. It basically means something's cut out of a solid piece of metal, whether it be steel or aluminum. Billet is usually a shiny material, and therefore will not dissipate heat as well as a black cooler. So now we understand that a chrome oil cooler would be the worst of the three in terms of functionability. Now, what makes an oil cooler better than another one? Well, obviously the fin surface area. The more surface area of the finning, the better it will be. The channel length will be the oil channels that go through the oil cooler. And of course, the location of where we put the oil cooler, it's got to be in the airflow. It's an air-cooled engine. So putting it at the back of the motorcycle is not a very good idea. Oil coolers, quite often, they come with thermostats. It can be inside, and it'll bypass the oil away from the cooler back into the engine at a certain predetermined temperature, say 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Sometimes the thermostat will be outside the cooler. There you go, Tony.
Thanks, Don.
Will be outside the cooler, and the only reason for that is it's a separate piece, it's an add-on, or you know, Harley riders like stuff hanging out, and it just makes everything a little more complicated, which sometimes is beautiful. Then there's the manual turn-off valve. The problem with this one is you have to remember when to turn it off and to turn it on. Then there's the old and tried true method of a piece of cardboard, and this goes back to the transmission oil cooler. Just cut out a piece of cardboard, a couple elastic bands. When it gets down to 50, 55 degrees Fahrenheit, just put it in front of the oil cooler and put the elastic bands on, and you're away. Now, if you're going out to purchase an oil cooler, here's something that's very important to look for. We'll say these are two different channels that are going through an oil cooler where the oil is flowing through. These are the fins. So on the normal one, the oil is flowing here and it's here, and the oil on the outside, it's getting cooled and the heat's dissipating. But the oil that's in the center of the channel, it doesn't get moved out to the outside, so it stays the same temperature. Then we have the turbulated oil cooler, which is the one that you want. It's almost like somebody took a can opener and just started popping in the oil line. And see, now the oil's forced all over the place, and it's forced to mix or turbulate, and therefore the oil gets equal opportunity to dissipate its heat to the outside world. Now, do you need an oil cooler? Well, if you ride in really hot weather, say across the prairies in summertime or the U.S. Southwest, you know, it's 120 degrees Fahrenheit, an oil cooler is an exceptionally good idea. If you're the type of rider who rides really hard, sustained high RPM riding, again, an oil cooler is a great idea. On the modern twin cam 88 engines, these engines run really hot because of emissions controls, and they should all have an oil cooler on them. Finished there yet, Tony?
It's coming, I know. Time is money.
Okay, and this is Donny Peterson signing off from Techline on Bikertv, and we'll catch you next time around.
Don't go away, we got more Bikertv coming at you. Welcome back to Bikertv. Barb Milner visits with a Windsor Illustrator and finds out what makes him tick.
You know, the more you work, the more the painting comes to life. The best part of doing the painting is when it's about 3/4 done and you've got a little bit more to go in there, and you're going in there to put the high shines. I'll tell you, you know, the music goes on, and it's the best part. There's nothing that beats it in the world. It starts from sketches to photography, and then you're taking those final sketches and transferring that onto the illustration board, and then it's adding colors. You've got to really kind of focus on perspective. You know, if I was to take this motorcycle and plunk it where that scene that I seen way back, let's say a month ago or 2 months ago, is making sure that it looks really real, that you know, you've almost captured that moment. But the biggest secret is that even though you're putting all this detail in, You got to make this have a feeling that it's art. It's not a mechanical drawing. To the average person that looks at it, everything shines. And you know, when you look at a car, or if you look at a bike and you're standing behind the bike, you're looking over to the scene. You're looking at the whole overall picture of the chrome. You're not really concentrating on what's in the chrome. I have a little secret branding logo. I always put myself as a reflection, and in a lot of the chrome. The reflections basically show a little bit of the town. If the bike was sitting at the port, and we actually got a little bit more of a zoomed in where we have the lighthouse on the helmet here as well, where you can pretty well see the fishermen. These are basically guys that are riding on the side of the shoreline. We've got a person that's basically being pulled up here with a large cruiser. And of course my little trademark, I painted myself in here. This piece took about, there's probably a good 300 hours or more, and 2 or 3, maybe even 4 trips out to Port Dover, and taking various photographs. First of all, we found a beautiful bike that somebody had customized. We took some fabulous shots, and it was kind of easy because the reference was there, and the better the shots, the better the bike turned out. In certain cases, in order to do a really good piece of art, and you want your detail, it's absolutely necessary to take photographs of any product or anything that you illustrate, no matter what. The more reference you have, obviously, the better. I've been getting a professional photographer now, 5 years or more, and I found it's a lot easier. It saves time.
How familiar are you with the concept that Marc's going with before you actually start a photo shoot?
It depends. Like, I'll get sketches sometimes. Marc will have an idea, and I'll see 3 or 4 sketches, and then we'll try to, or I'll go out and try to imitate the angles, and sometimes I'll even try to put the bike in a scene that's very similar to what Marc has. I mean, he's really, it's sort of a fantasy, and then we try to make it a reality.
A lot of times what I'll do is I'll take some rough sketches, bring right at the photo shoots. I'll get into some tight areas where it's very, very dark. Even with photography, areas like this will not show. They'll be in dark shadow. All these little areas are so important, that I get the proper information down on paper, whether Rod gets it to us or I go in there and I do my little preliminary sketches. When I ride alone, I think it's like a quiet moment with you and the bike, and it gives you that chance of relaxation. In some cases, my mind goes 1,000 miles a minute. I can't tell you how many scenes that I've seen that I've wanted to paint. There's sometimes it's like a bright yellow cornfield, and you've got one maple tree that's red, and you can kind of picture a bike that's there. You're holding the handlebars, and you'd be amazed what you can see from the chrome off the headlight, the formation, the shapes of the clouds, and the sun coming in on the chrome. So there's a lot of images there that I would love to paint. Probably will never have the time in my whole life career to be able to paint all the thoughts that I've thought of.
99% of all people that ride motorcycles are just regular everyday people. There's 300 volunteers that do this, and the amount of work that they put together is unbelievable. And also, 5,000–6,000 motorcyclists have raised a record amount of money that is just fantastic. We're really planning on continuing to beat the eye disease.
There's 2 kinds of people, those who are for retinitis pigmentosa and those who are against, and I'm against. That's what this ride's all about. They raised about $600,000.
Like, you get 6,000 motorcycles in a row, it is quite the thing to see. 10 miles up the road, you still see bikes, and it's nice. Like, it's nice as being part of something really good, man.
Kids love it. They just have a great time. They like riding the ride, and they know it's a good cause as well. And they fight me if I say no, they can't come.
people come from down where we are, they come up for the weekend, and you know, I've gone down south where they have biker weeks and that. They're always fun to watch.
It's not about gangs. It's not about causing trouble. It's about having fun. That's what most people want to do on the weekend. They want to go out and enjoy themselves. They've worked for 40 hours. Go out and enjoy yourself.
We all left at 10 o'clock this morning. It's now 25 minutes after 4, and the first Harley has not arrived yet.
It used to be fun riding because everybody's greasy and dirty. Now you can hear the lawyers coming. The crunchy crunch of leather. You gotta love it, all these new bikers.
2 wheels is 2 wheels. So many people switch bikes over their life. Most people have 5-6 bikes over their lifetime.
You got a central point to go to, the Ride for Sight. I've thrown thousands of dollars in, you know, through donations, into the ride. Good cause. Bottom line, you got an excuse to get together with your buddies and go for a ride.
Coming up next, Heather shows us some special roads with some special folks around London.
I'm here at Rocky's Harley Davidson in London, Ontario. I've met up with the London Harley Owners Group, and they're going to take me on one of their favorite rides.
There's love in the city.
I'm real excited about today's ride because London is my hometown.
We're first off going to go down to Port Stanley, and we're going to stop at the pier side in Port Stanley, and from there we're going to go into Port Bruce, and from Port Bruce we're going to head down to Port Burwell.
So let's ride.
Winners losing, beggars choose. Photographs on local news. Prince's in his elevated. Funkadelic's overrated. Love in the city. There's love in the city. There's love in the city. There's love in the city, and I can't get it back now. You better pucker up and get ready for another hit. The sisters in the blisters, and I'm coming back to finish it. High and fingers, traffic blues. Heads that tells you're gonna lose. Turn it up, it's closing time. Don't wanna know what's on your mind. There's love in the city. There's love in the city. There's love in the city.
We're at the pier side in Port Stanley.
And this is a really biker-friendly place to stop, especially on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. All the bikes are usually parked out front.
Get back, but make it last. I tried it once and made me cry. I liked it though, don't ask me why. Love in the city. There's love in the city. There's love in the city.
Where are we now? We are in Port Burwell at the Lighthouse Restaurant.
Oh, the ride's been great.
Good ride. Can have some lunch now. Great day. Probably the best riding day of the year so far.
There's love in the city. Love in the city, and I can't get it back now. I can't get it back now. Try to once and made me cry. I liked it though, don't ask me why. Love in the city. There's love in the city. Yeah, there's love in the city, and I can't get it back now. I can't get it back now.
Well, I had a great time on our London ride today. I'd like to thank the London Harley Owners Group. Remember, if you'd like Biker TV to come out to your group ride, drop us a line at bikertv.ca. I'm Heather Ireland, and I'll see you next time.
It's been fun, but all great times must end. Biker TV will be back next week with Donny and the history of Harley engines. Dino and the gang fighting it out for track supremacy. And of course, Heather takes us on a turkey run in Hamilton, whatever that is.
Every biker out there who loves to be in the wind, loving the ride, and having fun. Keep in touch at info@bikertv.ca. See you next week, and remember, 4 wheels move the body, 2 wheels move the soul.
I like that.
Special thanks to Centretown Pawnbroker, London's cash guys. Time Out Cycles, custom motorcycles, parts, and service. Motorcycle Mojo Mag, it's about the ride.